Hi everyone, with Bruce in his man cave. Hi Bruce.
Hiya.
We're here to look at, you'll see some day scopes here, and we have the PARD 007SP LRF, which has the LED IR and a few other tricks up its sleeve. So Bruce has had this for a week or two already, so we're going to go to Bruce and he's going to go through his list of pros and cons, and then we're going to set up on these two scopes, show you the setup on the tripod, looking at the distant air brake, and show you how it works, okay? We have the 007SP LRF, and of course you'll have seen my unboxing video already.
And these are a bit of combo.
So, and these are the spacer rings and accessories. Pretty good clamp by the looks of it, Bruce.
It's a much improved clamp compared to the one that was in the first version of the 07. This is a much better clamp. And the fact that they're supplying spacer rings is good as well. Apparently there are two clamp sizes. This is the 45mm. They also do a 48mm for larger ocular scopes.
Cool.
But for the scopes we have here, this is big enough. The clamp has actually got, the clamp opens and closes by this, arm here, and you can also adjust the clamp using this screw here, so that even if you can't get it quite correctly tight with the shim, you can then just tighten it up so that it's nice and tight on the scope. And we'll tell you what we'll do. We'll show you the clamp working on this scope here. So
this is a Hawke 39x50.
This is a Hawke 39x50, an old panorama.
And it's an adjustable objective.
This is the thinnest of the shims. We'll actually put the clamp onto the scope so I can get the distance right. And that goes on like that, and then turns like that, and that locks in place. We put the shim over the scope end. Open up the clamp.
Yeah, it's a definite process of it, isn't it?
Slide it over and then close the clamp.
Lock it down.
And that's it locked.
Brilliant.
If it hadn't been locked, I could adjust the tightness of that screw there to clamp it down. And then you can adjust that screw so that the clamp, how tight the clamp is.
Yes.
And then obviously once it's on, you can open the clamp up or loosen the clamp so that you can get the reticle central in the field of view, so the reticle's not lying off one side or off to one way or another. Yeah. And that's how the clamp works. And of course, if you're going to continue to use this add-on with this scope, you just leave the clamp in place and just remove the add-on, and the clamp stays on the scope. Yeah. And the clamp doesn't come back too far, so you can still use the scope as a scope without affecting the eye relief.
Brilliant. So you can leave the clamp in place.
You can leave the clamp in place, and it's not going to affect the eye relief when you're using the scope without the clamp.
And this is my old PARD 007 with, here we've got the Eagle Vision Cam multi-scope adapter, and we have compared the two, and the new NV007SP LRF is about 28mm, 28mm shorter.
That's the sort of reference point.
Yeah.
Because that's where they both fix, and you can see that the new one is significantly shorter than the old one.
Yeah. So it's shorter by a rubber eye cup's worth at least.
Basically an inch.
Yeah.
Just a little bit over an inch.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Because these are add-ons and they cut into the amount of distance you've got between your eye and the scope, getting that distance as short as possible does help to make this type of add-on a bit more comfortable in use than the older style.
Yes.
And they've simply done that by, rather than having the lens and the camera and the display, in this one they've used a mirror, and now the camera is up here looking at the mirror, so the light comes up to the camera like that.
Yeah, so we can see through this panel here.
You can see the lens, but the lens is actually pointing this way.
Yeah. So there we go. You can see the lens, and you can see looking up into that hole. That's where the imager camera is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, again, in comparison with the old model you adjusted this to control the focus of the main lens, so that the reticle was in focus. Here, your control is on the side. Yeah. So that's obviously moving a lens up and down in this direction. Yeah. To switch again.
And it's a nicer method. That is.
It's a little bit easier to use.
Yeah.
Although you could potentially argue that this could be adjusted when you don't want it adjusted.
Knocked accidentally, yeah.
Knocked accidentally. That could happen more easily here than it would with this type. But I think generally I prefer this. full match to pard on the new clamp and the adapters they're supplying. That's a big improvement. Unfortunately, the new clamp is not compatible with the old model.
Yeah, the bayonet fitting is different.
No, but we tried that, and it's a shame because if you could buy the clamp and fit it onto the old model, it would help the old model. But never mind.
Yeah,
it is what it is. So we like the new clamp and the shims. I like the focus control on the side.
Yeah.
I like the shortening of the overall length. That makes it more comfortable to get behind.
Yeah. Bruce has got a list of pros and cons here because he's had this over a week already. So
you'll notice that on top here there's a single section of full depth Picatinny rail.
Yeah.
Which is good. That's a good place for it to be. So you can use an external IR,
which you need.
Which you're going to need, I think.
We'll come to that in a second. Yeah.
So that to me is a very good feature. This is the laser rangefinder, and the flash is not where you want it to be. It's relatively simple to adjust the position of the flash. All you got to do is take that little ring off of there.
Okay.
And if you look underneath, you'll see 4 screws.
Let's have a look. Oh yeah, I've got it in focus there. Yeah.
And if you simply adjust those 4 screws, you can make the emitter change direction up and down and side by side. So you can put the flash where you want the flash to be within the field of view.
Yeah, so this is the LRF laser splash.
Yeah, and when you've done that, you just put that back on again. It's got little sticky pads.
Right, okay, cool. So it's kind of designed like that.
Yeah.
And then you use the menu to align the LRF's daylight aiming box with the middle of the splash at your chosen range.
That's right.
That's the important bit.
That's right. You could. There's then a sequence of buttons within the menu and the buttons here that you press to get into a sub menu that allows you to position the yellow target box wherever you want, and you would normally have it over the top of the laser splash. Yeah. So that's good. That's pretty simple.
Yeah.
And there's in the process of doing that, if you simply peel that off and you don't dig a screwdriver into the lens, it's not going to void your warranty.
Yeah.
Okay. If you abuse the scope in the process of doing that, well then you might avoid your warranty.
Yeah.
The other thing that I did like about this was this cover.
Yep.
Hides the slot for the memory card, for a USB-C connector, which you can use to run it off an external power for downloading files.
Yeah.
But there's also a micro HDMI connector.
Yeah.
So you could connect an external screen
to
this if you wanted.
Okay.
Okay.
Brilliant.
And that's got quite a nice cover on it. It seals it quite well.
You mentioned the audio on videos isn't very good.
No.
So picks up mechanical noise, but not voices.
Right. Yeah. Now it may be that the microphone's hiding under there, and with that cover off, the audio is better. But when I tried it, you could pick up all the mechanical noises of me touching it and trying to adjust the thing.
Yeah.
But the voice the actual voice audio was very, very poor. Yeah. That indicates to me that the microphone in there is well away from any
openings. Yeah.
Any openings, and I couldn't see anything.
Yeah. And although that panel's on the underside, on a day like this when it's dinging down with rain, I'm not going to be recording with that open.
No.
Just to make sure.
But that is a better place for it, for inclement weather.
Yes.
A quick addendum here. This footage is taken with the PAD NV007SP LRF handheld, looking out at my study at a rooftop opposite. I'm actually speaking right now, and then I undo the memory compartment covering, and you'll hear me speak. Now the memory card compartment cap is open, and we'll see if this changes the audio. Please note also the sort of screen ratio right now, and this is clearly also being stretched during the recording.
And this is the correct aspect ratio of being filmed through my mobile phone, which is 1920 by 1080 res.
The other thing I don't like is the fact that the LRF splash is vertical.
Yes, we've got the emitter on the side here rather than at the top. To me, that's a backward step from PAD.
Yeah. Plus, not only is the splash vertical, it's a long, thin vertical stripe. It's not
long
a short,
skinny.
fat. Yeah. Which is not what you want, because you never know what you're actually getting a range from.
Yes.
You want it horizontal, and you want it fairly short and fat.
Yeah.
So you know what you're ranging.
Yeah.
I would have to imagine there's some sort of technical reason why that could not have been mounted in a different position. But they managed to do it on the DS35.
Yeah, I thought they'd improved from the 008 LRF to the likes of the 008S, where you have a horizontal laser splash, and to me they've taken a step backwards with this.
Having said that, the rangefinder works.
Yeah.
Right, it works well.
Yeah.
It's just that if you see it at night, you think, oh, that's a bit a kind of skinny kind of flash, and
Yeah,
you're not
long-
absolutely sure what you're ranging.
Long and skinny, yeah.
Yeah. I actually have adjusted this one and made it slightly better. The two major issues for me with this device are, one, the LED IR.
Yeah,
The old models had a VCSEL.
yeah,
This is now an LED, and the light output is not high enough, in my opinion, to be able to give a decent image with the scopes that I've tried it on.
yes,
The scopes that I've tried it on, to be able to get a decent image, I've had to use an external IR, a
Yeah.
VCSEL based IR, clamped onto the top. When I
Right.
did that, then I could get a good image. I would be quite happy to use it.
yeah.
But the LED IR on its own, no. And in this scope, when it's up at ×9, you could see almost nothing.
Right,
Okay.
okay.
Now, there's another reason for that as well. The second reason is my other dislike, which is that this thing has got too much optical magnification.
Yeah, base mag is too high.
I'd claim it's ×4. It's not. It's ×2.5, but that's still too high. If we go back to these were selling well with a 12mm lens and a 16mm lens. The Rattan guys like the 12mm lens because,
So what was the base mag on those?
well, the 12mm lens is ×1.
Right,
Because with the 12mm lens, you could see all of the scope reticle and there'd be 4 dark corners.
you're right.
With a 16mm lens, which was about ×1.3, you would see most of the reticle. That would be a bit magnified, but you wouldn't have any dark corners.
Yeah,
With this thing, it's ×2.5, so you're only seeing the centre of the reticle,
yeah,
which again means that there's less light coming through the scope actually getting to the camera.
yeah.
So that small field of view, combined with the low power of the IR, is what's really killing its performance.
Yes, because people like myself, and we have 50mm objective lenses to get more light in, and especially at night for rear add-ons, you've got to get as much IR light in as you
That's right,
can.
because that light has to come all the way through the scope before it gets to the camera.
Yeah,
So you need a lot of IR to start with. I mean, when the 007s came out originally, that was their big thing. The fact that it had this fantastically powerful IR that
Yeah.
allowed you to use them with scopes.
and I should just mention quickly that scopes like the Hawke, MTC, Discovery are perfect with these rear add-ons
yeah.
because they've not got too many fancy coatings on the lenses,
right.
so the IR light gets through. But what you're saying is with this newest rear add-on, the LED isn't up to it.
No,
Yeah.
for me, the LED is simply not powerful enough
Right.
to get. And the combination of an LED that's not powerful enough, magnification that's too high, doesn't limit the amount of light coming through the scope. It limits the amount of light coming out the back of the scope and getting into the camera, because instead of the lens here looking at all of the reticle, all of the ocular, and all of the light coming through the ocular getting to the camera,
Yeah.
but the high magnification means you're only picking up the light from a small part of the centre of the ocular,
Yeah.
which again reduces the amount of light reaching the camera.
Yeah.
So that again works against giving you a decent image with the onboard IR.
Yeah.
When you go to a VCSEL based IR, which is a lot more powerful, yeah, you get away with it.
Yes.
You're getting away with it because there's now plenty of light coming through the scope and enough to get to the camera to give a decent image.
So good advice is straight away is if you're using it at night, use a more powerful IR, external IR.
I would say an external IR is going to be, except for very short range work. But
Yeah.
the problem with very short range work is the high magnification limits your field of view.
Yes.
So that isn't really the best combination of factors.
Yeah.
But I would say that an external IR mounted on that little bit of pick reel,
Yeah.
that's its saviour really in a lot of ways. Rather than have to mount it on the scope,
Yeah.
is a good thing. And the other thing we didn't mention was that some people that use scopes with high turrets are having an issue with the IR, with the LRF being blocked by the turret.
Yes. Yeah.
Now these are both low turret scopes. They would both not be affected, but there are some people that are using scopes with tactical turrets
Yeah.
where the LRF, the scope, this is not high enough up, such that the beam, the transmitted beam from the LRF is hitting Yeah. And some folk have solved that by slightly turning it off to one side, but you don't really want to do that, because then you're looking at the reticle's not, sitting in the central in the axis of the display.
That would mess with my brain.
Oh, that would, I would think that would upset a lot of people's OCD.
Yes.
So that is a known issue with these, that the LRF can be blocked by tactical turrets.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Those are sort of my main thoughts.
So you've had this over a week. That's your initial main thoughts.
Right.
And so I'll stop this for a second, and we'll put the tripod up. We'll get both scopes on, and what we're going to do is we're going to show you fitting this to both scopes, and we'll test it on the ridgeline at 98 yards. So Bruce has got the Hawke 3-9x50 scope.
I've got the scope down at ×3 magnification. The first thing you're going to do, and this is standard in all add-ons, is first thing you do is adjust the diopter on the add-on so that your eye can see the icons on the screen. If you want to bring up the menu, do that, but you want to get the icons on the screen focused for your eye first before you do anything else.
Okay.
Then once you've got the icons focused, then you use the side knob to get the scope reticle in focus, which I've done, and finally you adjust, in this case it's an AO scope, you adjust the front focus,
so that's the parallax objective ring,
to get the image of the target in focus. So it's diopter, lens, objective.
Right. And
if it's a side focus scope, then the final stage is the side focus.
Yes, rather than objective.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
And obviously, once I put this on and close the clamp, I'm looking to see that the reticle is square within on the screen.
Yeah.
And simply loosen the clamp slightly, you can juggle the thing around and get it fairly central. There is actually a function within the menu that allows you to put a digital yellow cross on the display, which you can then use to help you line up the reticle.
Okay. You're recording now, Bruce. I'll move this camera so that I can put what you're recording in the corner of the screen.
I've got the scope magnification at 3. I've got everything focused up. I can actually, I would say I could just make out the holes in the air brick.
Right.
Because remember, we're at 3 times on the scope, and we're at another 2.5 times with the part.
Yes.
So that's 7.5.
Right. And so our combined base mag is 7.5.
That's right. And typically we always used to say that we need to be about 5 mag to be able to start to see the holes in the air brick. So we're at more than that, and you can't just see them. My problem with this is when I was doing this test at night, using the LED IR, I could barely see the ridgeline, let alone see the air brick.
Right.
And definitely not the holes in the air brick.
Right. Okay.
And as with the scope at base mag, with the LED IR at full power and full tight, because it's the same as the old PARD, you can slide it. You can slide it forwards and backwards. So with the beam tight, the maximum power, I could just about see the roof with the base mag at 3. When I up the magnification to 9, that limits the amount of light coming through the scope. I could barely see the ridgeline. I could not see any detail whatsoever.
Okay.
Only when I put a VXL on the top here and used that was I able to get a usable image at all magnifications that would have allowed me to shoot comfortably.
So if you want to do some, I'm going to stick it in the corner of the screen here, so if you want to do some zooming and see how it looks, you want to go up to all the way up to 9 slowly and describe what you see, and I'll put it on screen.
Well, obviously this is a second focal plane scope, so the reticle is going to stay the same size.
Yeah.
But it's working like a normal glass scope in that the magnification is increasing. Because I'm using optical magnification. There's no pixelation.
Yeah.
I'm not losing any resolution in the image. I can see things are larger. I can see the holes in the air brick more clearly now than I could at lower magnification.
Yeah.
In daylight, the image is perfectly good. It's perfectly clear. But obviously the field of view is pretty narrow because we're now effectively at 9 times 2.5.
Yeah.
Which is 18, 22.5.
22.5 mag,
essentially
yeah.
effectively times 22.5 magnification.
Right.
Which,
So,
you know, okay, if you're target shooting, fair enough. But if you were out at night, that's a hell of a narrow field of view.
yeah.
You would be.
Do you want to just, while you're on, I don't know if you want to zoom out on first or not, but do you want to just ping it with the LRF and see,
Yeah.
so record it on screen and see how good it, how near to 98 yards it is?
I've got the target box on the screen and I'm aiming just below the air brick and it's reading 60 metres. So I adjusted the LRF flash. I think the LRF flash is well below the target box.
Right.
I've actually slackened this screw off to open the clamp up a bit because this, although this uses the same shim as the Hawke scope, it is a slightly bigger ocular,
Yeah.
maybe half a mil or so bigger. So
Okay. So this is a Discovery HD34 3 to 18 by 50 first focal plane scope.
what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to increase the magnification so I can see the reticle more clearly because this is a first focal plane scope. The reticle is sitting well above centre.
Oh. Earlier on it was spot on, first time.
Oh no, the reticle's well above centre.
I wonder if that shim has moved or something.
No, that's a reticle in focus. Is this outer one? No, that inner one's the side focus. That's it now. It's a good picture.
So is it central now?
No,
Oh.
but it's a good picture.
Oh.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to focus the reticle as best I can at base magnification, right?
Yeah.
And
So you haven't had to touch the diopter because the screen will still focus from a
that's
minute
right,
ago.
because it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
It's me. It's using it, so it's been.
Yeah.
It's still for my eye.
So now you've focused the reticle
I'm going
and
to.
now you're focusing the objective
Aye.
via the
What-
side wheel.
But what I want people to see, hopefully with the video I'm recording, is how the reticle goes in and out of focus as I change the
As
scope
you zoom,
mode.
yeah.
So I'm increasing mag. The reticle's becoming more visible and it's still in focus, but now. No, it's actually less noticeable this time than it was when we did it before. That's okay. This thing for some reason.
Was it not on the other scope and not on this scope?
No, it was this one. Oops,
Okay.
We noticed it. I could sharpen the focus a bit, I think.
Yeah.
Now, if I adjust the focus on the part to get the reticle at maximum magnification as sharp as I can,
Yeah.
and then reduce the magnification, it rapidly goes out of focus.
Right.
From about 18 to 15, the reticle stays in focus.
Yeah.
But once I go below 15, it rapidly drops out of focus.
Okay.
Now,
Well, that just needs the side of focus adjusted then.
Yeah. No, so this is the lens. I'm focusing the lens and the part. You have to look at the reticle.
Yeah.
So if I go back now and adjust the focus and the part again to try to get the reticle in focus as well as I can at base magnification, I think that would be what you'd have to do. And then if I increase scope magnification, holds focus better. It's not perfect at maximum magnification, but it's perfectly usable throughout the range.
Cool.
Although at about that magnification there, can you see, so what magnification am I at now?
That's at 5.5.
At 5.5. That's about its worst point.
Right.
It's the reticle is not sharply focused. And then as you go back down to base magnification, it tightens up a bit again. It's better.
Okay.
So there's a noticeable loss of focus at about 5.5.
Right.
It's okay at base mag and it's okay up at the top, but at about 5.5 there is a noticeable lack of focus
On this scope.
on this particular scope.
Yeah.
And that's not uncommon for first focal plane scopes. With
Right.
radars.
Yeah.
So, but in general, the image is good.
Yeah. So you have just gone up and down through the zoom range anyway. So we've got that image on the screen, so
and
people will be able to see how it looks.
Again, so this is a 3 times base mag scope, so effectively we're looking at 7.5.
Yeah, base mag.
And again, when I adjust the side focus for distance, I can make out just make out the holes in the air brick. And as I increase the scope magnification, obviously, well, when I do that, I need to refocus the side focus. And because, yeah, this is so, you said this was 318?
Yeah, 3 to 18 by 50.
So 18 is 2.5 times 18.
45.
Nah.
Sorry.
Is it? It is. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you're right, it is. So at 45, yeah, then, well, I could obviously clearly see the holes in the air brick. There's a bit of milkiness in the image, but that's not coming through the pod, it's coming through the scope. But yeah, that's it's pretty clear, but obviously very, very, very narrow field of view.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Okay. So we've seen attaching the PARD's sort of onboard multi-scope adapter to 2 different scopes, 2 different eyebells, and these scopes, one was a 25mm tube second focal, and this fella here is a 30mm tube first focal. So 2 quite different scopes.
And it works on both of them.
Yeah, they both had the same base mag of 3 times, which gives the cumulative, with the NV007SP LRF, gives a cumulative base mag of 7.5. So we're giving people a reasonable image of how this looks in daylight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As I say, at night you're almost certainly going to need an external IR.
Yeah.
The LED IR is for again for short range work, yeah, but the narrow field of view, because of the high magnification, is not going to make it particularly easy to use at close range.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Brilliant. Thanks, Bruce.
No bother.
Okay.